might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space with the air.
Say then, my friends, what did Jacques of the police force tell thee?
Very little tonight, but all he knows there is another spy commissioned for our quarter. There may be many more for all that he can say, but he knows of one.
Ah, well, is it necessary to register him? How do they call that man?
He is English.
So much the better. His name?
Barsad.
Barsad, good Christian name. John Barsad, good his appearance, is it known?
Age about 40 years, height above 5 feet 9, black hair, complexion dark, generally rather handsome visage. Eyes dark, face thin, long and swallow. Nose aquiline, but not straight, having peculiar inclination towards the left cheek. Expression therefore sinister.
In my faith, it is a portrait. He shall be registered tomorrow.
This smells funny.
You are fatigued. There are only the usual smells.
I am a little tired.
You are a little depressed too. Oh, the men, the men.
But my dear.
But my dear, you are faint of the heart tonight, my dear.
Well then, it is a long time.
It is a long time, and when is it not a long time? Vengeance and retribution require a long time. It is the rule.
It does not take a long time to strike a man with lightning.
How long does it take to make and store the lightning? Tell me. It does not take a long time for an earthquake to swallow a town. Well, tell me how long it takes to repair the earthquake.
A long time, I suppose.
But when it is ready, it takes place and grinds to pieces everything before it. In the meantime, it is always preparing, though it is not seen or heard. That is a consolation. Keep it.
My brave wife, I do not question all this, but it has lasted a long time, and it is possible, you know, well, my wife, it is possible that it may not come during our lives.
Well, how then?
Well, we shall not see the triumph.
We shall have helped it. Nothing that we do is done in vain. I believe with all my soul that we shall see the triumph. But even if not, even if I knew certainly not, show me the neck of the aristocrat, and try it, and still I would.
Hold! I too, my dear, will stop at nothing.
Yes, but it is your weakness that you sometimes need to see your victim and your opportunity to sustain you. Sustain yourself without that. When the time comes, let loose a tiger and a devil, but wait for the time when the tiger and the devil change. Not shown, yet always ready.
Good day, madam.
Good day, Monseigneur. Ha, good day. Age about 40, height about 5 feet 9, black hair, generally rather handsome visage. Complexion dark, eyes dark, thin, long and swallow face, aquiline nose, but not straight, having a peculiar inclination towards the left cheek, which imparts a sinister expression. Good day, one and all.
Have the goodness to give me a little glass of old cognac and a mouthful of cool fresh water, madam. Oh, marvelous cognac, this, madam. You knit with great skill, madam.
I'm accustomed to it.
A pretty pattern, too.
You think so?
Decidedly. May one ask what it's for?
Pastime.
Not for use?
That depends. I may find a use for it one day if I do well. I'll use it. On. Stay long enough and I shall knit Barsad before you go.
You have a husband, madam?
I have.
Children?
No children.
Business seems bad.
Business is very bad. The people are so poor.
The unfortunate, miserable people. So oppressed too, as you say.
As you say,
Pardon me. Certainly it was I who said so, but you naturally think so, of course.
I think I and my husband have enough to do to keep this wine shop open without thinking. All we think here is how to live. That is a subject we think of, and it gives us for morning to night. Enough to think about without embarrassing our heads concerning others. Think for others, no.
A bad business this is, madam, of Gaspard's execution. Ah, the poor Gaspard.
My faith, if people use knives for such purposes, they have to pay for it. He knew beforehand what the price of his luxury was. He has paid the price.
I believe there is much compassion and anger in this neighborhood, touching the poor fellow between ourselves.
Is there?
Is there not?
Here is my husband.
Good day, Jacques.
Good day, Jacques.
You deceive yourself, monsieur. You mistake me for another. That is not my name. I am Ernest Defarge.
It is all the same. Good day.
Good day. You seem to know this quarter well. That is to say, better than I do?
Not at all, but I hope to know it better. I am so profoundly interested in its miserable inhabitants.
Ha!
The pleasure of conversing with you, Monsieur Defarge, recalls to me that I have the honor of cherishing some interesting associations with your name.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. When Dr. Manet was released, you, his old domestic, had the charge of him. I know. He was delivered to you. You see, I am informed of the circumstances.
Such is the fact, certainly.
It was to you that his daughter came, and it was from you, from your care, that his daughter took him, accompanied by a neat brown monsieur. How is he called? In a little wig, Laurie, of the Bank of Telson, and a company over to England.
Such is the fact.
Very interesting remembrances. I have known the Dr. Manet and his daughter in England.
Yes?
You don't hear much about them now?
No.
In effect, we never hear about them. We received the news of their safe arrival and perhaps another letter or perhaps two. But since then, they have gradually taken their road in life. We have held no correspondence.
Perfectly so, madam. She is going to be married.
Going? She was pretty enough to have been married long ago. You English are cold, it seems to me.
Oh, you know I'm English?
I perceive your tongue is, and what the tongue is, I suppose the man is.
Yes, Miss Manet is going to be married, but not to an Englishman, to one who, like herself, is French by birth. And speaking of Gaspard, oh, poor Gaspard, it was cruel, cruel. It was a curious thing that she is going to marry the nephew of a Monsieur the Marquis, but whom Gaspard was exalted to the height of so many feel. It was, in other words, the present Marquis. But he lives unknown in England. He is no Marquis. There he is, Mr. Charles Darnay. Good day.
Can it be true? What has he said of Mademoiselle Manet?
As he said it, it is probably false, but it may be true.
If it is,
If it is,
and if it does come while we live to see it triumph, I hope, for her sake, destiny will keep her husband out of France.
her husband's destiny will take him where he is to go, and will lead him to the end that is the end of him. That is all I know.
But it is very strange now, at least. Is it not very strange? That after all of our sympathy for Monsieur, her father, and herself, her husband's name should not be proscribed under your hand at this moment, by the side of that infernal dog's who has just left us?
Stranger things than that will happen when it does come. I have them both here of a certainty, and they are both here for their merits. That is enough.
You are happy, my dear father?
Quite, my child.
And I am very happy tonight, dear Father. I am deeply happy in love that heaven has so blessed me. My love for Charles and Charles's love for me. But if my life were to not be still consecrated to you, or if my marriage were so arranged as that it would part us, even by the length of all few of these streets, I should be more unhappy and self-reproachful now that I can tell you, even as it is. Dearest dear, can you tell me this last time that you feel quite sure no new affections of mine and no new duties of mine will ever interpose between us? I know it well, but do you know, in your own heart, do you feel quite certain?
Quite sure, my darling. More than that. My future is far brighter, Lucy. Seen though through your marriage than it could have been, nay, than it ever was without it.
If I could hope that, my father.
Believe it. Love, indeed it is so. Consider how natural and how plain it is, my dear, that it should be so. You devoted and young cannot fully appreciate the anxiety that I have felt that your life should not be wasted. Wasted, my child, should not be wasted, struck aside from the natural order of things for my sake. Your unselfishness cannot entirely comprehend how much my mind has gone on this. But only ask yourself, how could my happiness be perfect while yours was incomplete?
I hope, my father, oh my dear, will you bless me as fervently tomorrow?
Lucy, I recall these old troubles and the reason that I have tonight for loving you better than words can tell, and thanking God for my great happiness. My thoughts, when they were the wildest, never rose near to the happiness that I have known with you, and that we have before us.
When Dr. Monet realized that Lucy was on her 2-week honeymoon, he became very sad and started cobbling shoes like he did in the Bastille.
And I was like, why are you so obsessed with me?
Will the real MC please?
Why you so obsessed with me? Delusional, you're delusional, boy, you're losing your.
Did you see Dr. Monet cobbling shoes like he did 18 years ago in his imprisonment in the Bastille?
I did. What should we do about it?
I have an idea.
My dear Monet, I'm anxious to have your opinion and confidence on a very curious case in which I am deeply interested. That is to say, it is very curious to me. Perhaps to your better information, it may be less so. Dr. Monet, the case is the case of a particular dear friend of mine. Pray give your mind to it and advise me well for his sake, and above all for his daughters, my dear Monet.
If I understand, some mental shock?
Yes.
Be explicit, spare no detail.
Dear Monet, it is the case of an old and prolonged shock of great acuteness and severity to the affections, the feelings, as you express it, the mind. It is the case of a shock from which the sufferer recovered by a process that he cannot trace himself, as I once heard him publicly relate in a striking manner. It is the case of a shock from which he has recovered, so completely as to be a highly intelligent man, capable of close application of mind and great exertion of the body, and of constantly making fresh additions to his stock of knowledge, which is already very large. But unfortunately there has been a slight relapse.
Of how long?
9 days.
I believe that there had been a strong and extraordinary revival of the train of thought and remembrance that was the first cause of the malady. Some intense associations of a most distressing nature were vividly recalled, I think. It is probable that there had been a long dread lurking in his mind, and that those associations would be recalled, say, under circumstances, say, on a peculiar occasion. He tried to prepare himself in vain. Perhaps the effort to prepare himself made him less able to bear it.
Well, that's good comfort. I am thankful.
I am thankful.
and we gonna let it burn, 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 burn. We gonna